Good morning, non-elected citizen. My name's Rodney Glover. I'm a candidate for governor of Florida. And yesterday, September 8th, 2025, our Supreme Court passed racial profiling as a legal law. We have been through this. We have seen this through history. And now you can be harassed for the appearance of your race or ethnicity, speaking Spanish or English with an accent, the type of work that you do, the presence at a particular location. And we know what happens when you add harassment, when you have to harass. And this is all because a number was thrown out: 20 million illegals, 100 million illegals, 60 million illegals. No data to the civilian, no data to the non-elected citizen, just terminology from a seat that we're supposed to trust. And we have passed a law in 2025 that violates the 14th Amendment. Government can now treat people differently based on race. Violates the Fourth Amendment of unreasonable search. Stops based on skin color rather than reasonable suspicion. The Fifth Amendment, due process. Presumption of a guilty base based on appearance. We know that those three amendments are meant to make sure that we did not do this. And yes, the world is going to look and say, hey, look at America. Even though they had a history of knowing that this is not the right way to go about this, they could not get it right. They couldn't make sure to enforce U.S. Code 81324. They didn't want to enforce that code, which says that, hey, you can't knowingly or unknowingly, you cannot have illegals working for you. You cannot create a pathway to make sure that this negativity happens. How did we put the numbers out to say that we knew how many illegals had gotten here? And now we have to pass a law to harass anybody who looks non-white and has an accent to find the number of illegal immigrants in this country. You see how it doesn't make sense? It didn't make sense. And we should have never passed this law. And that's why I'm pushing for legislative authority. There is no way possible that this should have been ever okay. You can go back to 1863. 1863, right up until during Civil War time. Whipping Peter was the photo. Whipping Peter was passed around widely. And that's when white American citizens said, hey, hold on. Y'all said that it wasn't like this. Y'all never said that it was like this. You told us that it was some light thing, really, loose slavery, whatever that is. We passed a law to make racial profiling legal. And the problem is we know that we always have people that take these laws and argue next time for the next group in the next group that they want to remove rights from or they want to harass. And when a group gets harassed, they're going to get tired of it. And they're going to look at the harassing group as the enemy. And then they're going to look at the people who did not help them as the enemy. And we continue to create a cyclic problem of violence and a cyclic problem of hate, because the people that we elect to represent us said that we weren't good enough, weren't smart enough to get this right, to not have to pass a law to racially profile. And I'm telling you today, as a candidate for governor of Florida, it was wrong to pass a law to where you can tell anybody that because of the way you look, I know you are wrong. Not your deeds, not your actions, not no content of your character, not no merit, none of those things. The way you look makes you wrong. And now I get to harass you because of the way you look. Because you can't just see somebody and it not have an adverse effect on you. We passed a law that says that when you look at an individual, when you look at a non-white citizen, or when you hear an accent that is not like your own, you should now think that that is wrong. And that is wrong. So when I am telling you that if you believe in that, then put your name behind it. Then get some legislative authority and show us who we need to be aware of. Everybody, I know you're going to see, I know everybody's seen, if you're on social media, you've seen people say, this is exactly what I voted for. But you don't know if their profile is real. You don't know if they're real. You don't know that because when you go outside, no one talks like that. But then the cameraman manages to find some strange person that says, yeah, this is the people I voted for, but no one knows who they are. This is a problem. And we're living this right here, right now. And having a mother that's 68 years old, that's still alive, that remembers having to go to the back of a store because her skin color was the wrong color. Do you understand? And she is living. I talked to my mama this morning. She's still alive. She still remembers. We've discussed it. This law was wrong. And there is nothing that we can do legally right now to do anything about it. Somebody has to appeal it and bring it up and figure out if the 6 justices, the majority justices that found this to be okay, would find an argument to say it's not okay. Where do you citizens stand on being able to look at somebody and say, that person deserves to have something bad happen to them because they look different than me? Where do you stand on that? Because no one's asking citizens for their opinion to weigh in when the violence that we know is going to happen. We know it is. We know no one likes to be harassed, so we know that they will push back. That the people that you're going to harass, they're gonna push back. When does the authority say no? That law is not okay. The world is watching and saying that Western culture only knows how to push violent rhetoric. And we just passed a law that says you can harass a person because of their color of their skin or because they sound different than you. What are we telling people about who we are if the people who are putting these laws in place are representations of who we are? We're saying to the world that that is who we all are, and that is not who I am as an individual. So until we break from this representative democracy as it stands, this type of thing, because it puts your next door neighbors, it puts yourself in danger. It puts citizens in danger. Because if there is a group that is starting to feel oppressed, the only people they're going to believe are not oppressing them are the people who look like them, and everybody else becomes an enemy. We've seen this. You can take all the books off the shelves. Most of us know the history. We didn't need to repeat this. We are better than what we just passed. We are better. There's no phone call you're going to make to your legislator because this body, this legislative body has failed. This has failed. The Supreme Court failed. The immunity needs to go away. We have to decide now, do we have our standards, our values, and our morals, and where we stand on that? Where do we go when you can look at somebody and have to say, hey, I need to make sure that you understand that if you see that person, you don't have to know anything about them, but if you see them, that you need to know they're bad. Where are we going? What are we doing? I don't even know what we're gonna look like November 3rd, 2026. because we passed a law today to say that it's okay to racially profile. And if you find any reason at all to justify that, to say that we couldn't figure out anything better than ensuring that we continue a cycle of hate, that we take our prejudice and put power behind it and make it racist. Because that's what happened. Now you can look at someone and say, hey, I dislike you just because of the way you look. And that doesn't hurt anybody. But now I have a law that says that it's legal to now inflict some type of harm or some type of harassment into your life. That makes it racist because you put power behind your prejudice. And that cannot be the future. That is not the future that I am fighting for. That is not the future that I want to have, but it is my present, and it is something that I must accept because the Supreme Court passed this law, and there will be people who are willing to carry it out. We are not represented anymore by our flag to other countries. We're represented by the people who we keep putting in the office. No one's looking at our flag and saying, hey, the flag is really good. And they're looking at the people, the policies, and the laws, and they're saying, hey, America's not good, and they're not trying to be. Look who they keep electing. There's no way they don't all think this way. It's just not possible. We're coming up on September 11th, and we passed a law for racial profiling. What unity are they going to discuss when you just passed a law for racial profiling? I don't even care what they say. This was a very divisive judiciary law. And I don't care about the 3 who dissented. I care about the 3 who had no moral, ethical, or any type of value system to say that, hey, we found a place where racial profiling needs to be necessary. Yet you keep telling citizens that you knew that 5,000 people had crossed the border. How did you know that? And why did you lose them with all this technology you have? How did you not know where they went? But you can keep telling us these hard-line numbers that led the judicial system to have to put on a law. Now we're back to arguing again for the 14th, the 4th, and the 5th Amendment. We're back to having to argue something that we thought we had solved. This is a problem. If we have a chance to see if we citizens have a better nature, then legislative authority is going to help us figure that out. And we're going to have to work through this, just like we're going to have to work through this problem right here. This is a sad day for the judiciary branch, the legislative branch, and the executive branch of all government. And the bells need to sound because we just made a law that said it is now legal to racially profile.